we're going to talk about 14.2, translating sine and cosine graphs. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take what you already know, and then we're going to add some to it.
Finish this ass, oh my god.
Up to now you've been talking about y equals a sine v of x. And so you know how to find that. What we're going to do is we're going to now translate it, and if you remember from when we did those parabolas, when we translate it, we move it a certain distance to the left or right or horizontal, and a certain distance up or down or vertical. So we have the equation y equals a sine v times x minus h plus k. A similar equation for cosine. I have it in steps. I put them in a little different order than what you have in your book because it made more sense to me that way. So here's the steps that I want you to follow. If you do it step by step and you do all the steps, this isn't going to be hard. It just takes some time. First, A is the amplitude. You know how to do that. That's what you've been doing. To find the period, you take 2 pi times, or divided by, the absolute value of b. Then you're going to look at the horizontal shift is going to be the h, the vertical shift, the k. I want you to note something here. In the original equation, it says x minus h. So if it says x minus 2, the horizontal shift is a positive 2. For the h, you actually will change the sign from what's there. The k says plus k. So for k, the vertical shift, you do not change the sign. You keep the same sign. Luke this morning came up with k is for keep, so it's the one that keeps the same sign. That works, if that helps you remember.
Okay, wait.
K is for keep, so it keeps the same sign. H has the opposite sign.
Oh.
That's the opposite sign. What is that?
Like if it's negative, it's positive. If
Right.
it's positive, it's negative.
Right.
So since
So if this says x minus h, it would be a or it's like x minus 2, it would be a positive 2. Would be your h.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And K just keeps the...
K keeps whatever sign it's got.
Oh, and then H is opposite.
Right. Okay? So that's going to be your first step. You're just going to identify all the parts of the equation. The second step, you're going to find 5 key points by translating the key points of y equals a sine bx or y equals a cosine bx horizontally, h units, and vertically a units. So these 5 key points, you have been finding them all along. We just haven't called them that. When you find those points along the x-axis, that's what those are going to be. So, and I'll give you an example to help you figure out how to do that. Step 3, you're going to draw the line, horizontal line y equals k, and I'm going to add something here. This is the midline of the graph. Okay, and again, we'll look at that when we do an example and see more about what that means. If k equals 0, the midline of the graph is just your x-axis, which is what we've been doing. Then, of course, the last thing is we're going to plot all those 5 key points and draw your graph through those points. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time. I'll watch and let you get it all written down, and then when everybody's ready, we'll do a couple examples. You ready? Let's look at a couple examples. Okay, y equals 2 sine 4x plus 3. So I've off here on the side, I wrote the general form of the equation. Y equals a sine b x plus h plus k. So when we pick this apart, what's going to be my amplitude here?
2.
2. You guys know that part. Amplitude is 2. What's my period?
2 pi.
No, pi over 2.
Pi.
Yeah, you do 2 pi over 4, so that simplifies to pi over 2. So again, you guys know that. That should be pretty comfortable with that by now. Now, you look here and say, is there any part in parentheses after the sign? And the answer is no. So then that means my h is 0. If there's nothing in parentheses after the sign, the h is 0. But after the trig function, I have a plus 3. Remember, the k keeps its sign, so k is 3. Okay, so we've got, everybody see where those values come from. Okay. Then we're going to make 5 key points, so I'm going to start, these are all half of parentheses. Now, the key points are those points that you've been finding on the x-axis. The first one is 0. The last one is
Where would you get 0?
your, well, 0 is where you start your graph.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The last one is the length of your period. That's the pi over 2.
So you divide it in half, get the middle one.
Yep, you divide it in half to get the middle one.
Pi over 4.
And then you divide that one in half to get the second one.
This is 3 pi over 8.
And take that times 3. Okay, so again, this is stuff you know.
Oh wait, so you just take the period. How'd you get to 5?
Which one?
Oh,
Okay, this one's the period.
okay.
Then I take half of the period, that gets me my middle one.
Yeah.
Take half of that, that gets my second one.
Oh, so you're just
So we're
finding-
just gonna see.
yeah, we're just doing
Okay,
5
so
key
it's-
points into the.
Yep. Same points that you've been doing on your graph. Okay, now it's the sign. So your y value on the sign, the first one is 0.
What is the cosine?
It's always starts high.
Okay. I got you.
So for the sign, we always start at 0. The second value is your high point, so that's going to be 2. The third value is 0. Then we go to -2. And we wind up at 0. And again, we're just writing them as numbers rather than putting them on the graph, but this is what you've been doing. So now is the new part. We're going to translate those. So we're going to, the h is 0, and the h always goes with the x, so we're not going to change the x values. The k is 3, so that means to every y value, I'm going to add 3. So now I have the point 0, 3, pi over 8, 5, pi over 4, 3, 3 pi over 8, 1, and pi over 2, 3. Okay, anybody not see where those came from?
How did you get the y point on the first set of points?
Okay, when you graph the sign, you always start at 0, 0, and then you go up to whatever the high point is.
Okay, gotcha.
Remember? Okay. Okay. So if you sometimes translate from the graph to the numbers takes a little bit of thinking. But now everybody's okay with where those came from? Then, step 3 is we draw the midline of the graph. Well, since k equals 3, the midline of my graph is going to be the line y equals 3. And then we're going to plot those 5 points. So we have the point 0, 3. We have the point pi over 8, 5. So this is 5 up here. I need to label that. I have the point pi over 4, 3. you label it down here where you went down to the 1. Be sure you label where your high point and your low point are. And then you connect your dots. That's not my best sign function.
Sorry, that's what really helped me.
There we go. Glad you're understanding of that. Okay. This looks exactly like the sine function you've been graphing, only it's just moved up 3 units. Okay? So that's all it is.
That's all that
Will that
is.
be moved over?
Now, the next one we're going to do is we're going to do an example from having it moving left to right. So that's the next one we're going to look at.
Tomorrow.
Okay. So this one was, we're going to look at moving left to right. So my second example, y equals 5 cosine 2 parentheses x minus 3 pi close parentheses. So on the side I put my general form of the equation just so we can be looking at it. Then what's my amplitude here? Okay, and my period, 2 pi over pi, which gives me pi. Now this time I have parentheses after the cosine, so this means it's got an 8 or an h, and the h is 3 pi. Remember, with the h you change the sign. The k is 0. So then we get our 5 key points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 at the top, pi at the bottom, because that's our period. Half of pi is pi over 2. Half of pi over 2 is pi over 4. Make that times 3. We got 3 pi over 4. Okay, there's my x value. Common. Y values, this time it's cosine, so I start at the high point. So it's 5, 0, negative 5, 0, 5. And remember, the first and the last always should be the same. Okay, so now we're going to do our translation. Put the on in there. Okay, this time my y values are not going to change, but my x values are going to have plus 3 pi. So this will be 3 pi, 5. Now I have to add 3 pi and pi over 4, so you're going to have to do a common denominator.
13 pi over 4.
It is. So we're going to go ahead and write this out. So you've got 3 pi plus pi over 4. So you need a common denominator, so that would be 12 pi over 4 plus pi over 4 gives me 13 pi over 4. For those of you who don't like fractions, this is good practice. Okay, next one, pi over 2. I need a common denominator again. So I have 3 pi plus pi over 2, 6 pi over 2 plus pi over 2 is 7 pi over 2. So I've got 7 pi over 2 negative 5. Okay, then I've got 3 pi over 4. Now look, I already have the hard work done for this one. Go back to where we did pi over 4. 3 pi plus 3 pi over 4 is 12 pi plus 3 pi over 4. So that's going to be 12 plus 3 is 15 pi over 4. We could have. Okay, and then 5 plus 3 is 4 pi. Okay, so now we have our new points. So let's graph those points. Now, oh shoot, I was going to use a different graph. Okay. My graph is not got enough room off on the right side to get all the way to 3 pi. So I'm going to listen. I'm gonna eliminate my x-axis over here and I'm gonna put it over here. So when you draw yours, you just make it so that it's got more on the right. And so I'm gonna do four grid marks for each pi. So there's pi, 1, 2, 3, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi. Okay. So I got 3 pi for the first one, 13 pi over 4, then 7 pi over 2, and 15 pi over 4. Okay, so then I'm going to graph these. Let's see, my midline is just going to be the x-axis because my k is equal to 0, so I don't have to worry about a new midline. So I'm going to have pi over 3, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go down to negative 5. Pi over 3, 5 is my first one. 13 pi over 4, 0. 7 pi over 2, negative 5. 15 pi over 4, 0. And 4 pi 5, and you connect your dots.
So how is this tricky? Oh, okay. Yes, awesome, thank you.
Yeah, what reason why you put the X's? You just move the x-axis.
Okay, so yes, that's not there. Use your imagination. It's gone.
Okay.
I can't erase it.
That's more gotcha.
Okay, so this my x-axis is now over
Use
here.
your
My
imagination.
y-axis.
I don't have an imagination. I was beaten out of it as a child.
It's time we got it back. Okay, so now this is where this period is that normally it would have been over here at 0, right?
Sure.
But we also know that this continues forever. So it would still have a part of it at 0, but we're just going to be graphing that one little section of it. Okay?
Windows 16.62.
What?
Windows 16.62.
A while ago.
God dang it. Every time. Still
Okay.